Today we are heading to the Weald and Downland Open Air Museum in the heart of the South Downs to check out some of Britain's oldest buildings and also get a small insight into how people used to actually live back in the day before they had any of today's luxuries like flushing toilets, electricity and hot running water. Bayleaf farmhouse, originally from Chiddingston in Sussex, this amazing timber-framed Weald Hall house has been rebuilt to its original spec, dating back to the early 15th century. The central main room on entry is heated by an open fire and flanked at one end by service rooms. Upstairs you will find the rooms that were used by the owner and his family with replica furniture and equipment. This particular farmstead dates back to around 1540. This old farmhouse from Walderton with its flint and brick exterior dates from the early mid-17th century, but inside are the remains of a medieval timber-framed building with an open hall. The middle room of this house shows the transition from a medieval to a 17th century dwelling. In 1979 this building was about to be demolished when it was offered to the museum. One half had been empty and derelict since about 1930. As an exhibit, it has provided an opportunity to demonstrate in a single building the radical differences between 15th and 17th century living conditions. As this is predominantly a food channel, I thought it would be absolutely rude not to have a look at how some basic cooking ingredients were produced and manufactured back in the day. This old village bakehouse was originally from Newgate and dates back to the 17th century. It once housed an extensive Victorian bakery, but unfortunately that all came to an end in the 1930s. Now it goes without saying, if you want to bake some nice bread and cakes, you are definitely going to need some flour. And look at that, would you Adam and Eve it? Right next door to the bakehouse there just happens to be a watermill. How useful is that? Happy days, I say. Even grinding your own flour, look at that.
We are. We're not. We can't at the moment because the mill's broken.
All right, okay.
We do. The flour that we do grind is good for baking bread, and it's grown very locally, so it's just grown up the road.
Nice. So it's strong flour, is it?
Mm-hmm. It's very strong flour. It's a grain called Skyfall, and it comes from West Dean, which is just up the road.
Yeah.
And it's a strong flour.
Timber-framed Pendean farmhouse was built in 1609. It has no open hall, but a brick chimney heats two of the ground floor rooms and one of the upper chambers. This revolutionary change in house planning took place in the mid-16th century, but Pendean also has some medieval features, such as unglazed windows. In the early days, market halls could be generally found in most towns and cities around England. Timber-framed market halls were common throughout the country. They served a lot of purposes, like selling spaces for marketers, private upper chambers for meetings, and, believe it or not, lockups for offenders. Among the earliest which have survived are several from the late 15th and early 16th century, the majority of them being timber framed. Many market halls were demolished around the 18th and 19th centuries, since they no longer served any purpose for which they were built. One by one they transformed, lost, or in a few cases were even moved to less valuable sites. This particular plumber's shed formed part of the premises of W.R. Fuller, Plumbers and Decorators. The business was first established in 1792 in the nearby village of Fletching. In 1817 it was moved to Burnt House, Newark, and again in 1888 to Red Brick House, just south of the village green. How amazing that must have been in those days. You spring a leak or get a dripping tap and you just nip down the road to the plumber's shed and say, "Hello Mr. Plumber, we're at number 10, could you come round please and fix the leaking tap for us?" And they go, "Yep, I'll just lock up shop and I'll be over in 5 minutes." He comes over, does the job, and probably gets a little bit of Grandma's apple and blackberry pie as payment. Job done, happy days.
Oh, another one.
Oh, perhaps it's the same one.
Well, there was one, but it was just happened to be on a first. It is Aaron, yes.
Right. Would you like to try our butters before we...
I will do, thank you very much.
We're just about to start clearing.
So what is so special about this, the butter, is it?
Nothing particularly special, but it's flavoured, so it's an interesting flavour.
And it's homemade butter, is it?
No.
It's
Ah.
made
No,
here.
we wouldn't be able to let you have it if it was made here.
Poplar's cottage was probably the home of a landless labourer, possibly a craftsman. It was built in the mid-17th century on the edge of Washington Common. It has one heated room and the fireplace is in a smoke bay, an early form of a chimney. This cottage cannot be precisely dated, but from the style and details of its construction, it was probably built in the mid-17th century, or possibly a little bit earlier. It occupied a small plot of land on the southern edge of the common at Washington, near Stenning in West Sussex. Archaeology carried out on the land after this building was dismantled in 1982 showed that there had not been a previous building on the same site. Although it has absolutely nothing to do with the open air museum whatsoever, for those of you who ever wondered where it is filmed, this is actually the home of the popular BBC series The Repair Shop. Obviously there's a lot more to see and do at the Weald and Downland Open Air Museum. Unfortunately I can't fit any more on this video, otherwise it will be about 3 hours long. But yeah, definitely well worth a visit and great day out. If you have enjoyed watching my videos, please be kind enough to hit that subscribe button, give me a little thumbs up and ring that little notification bell and you will be notified every time I upload a new video. On that note, thanks very much for watching. This is Chef's Travels and hopefully see you on the next one. Cheers.